My name is Edward Collins and I am 70 years old. Last winter, my children abandoned me in a nursing home, as if I was some useless piece of furniture to be stored away and forgotten. They thought I was nothing more than a burden. What they didn't know was that I was hiding a secret, one that would turn their greed into ashes. Before I tell you everything, hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Because this is a story of betrayal, heartbreak, and the sweetest revenge an old man could ever taste. The first night I spent in that nursing home is carved into my memory like a scar. The smell of antiseptic stung my nose. The hallway echoed with distant footsteps. A cold draft slipped under the door, filling the room with silence so heavy it pressed against my chest. I lay there in that narrow hospital bed, staring at the peeling ceiling tiles, trying to understand how my own children, Mark and Anna, could leave me here without a second thought. I had raised them with my own 2 hands after their mother passed away. I gave them everything I had. Yet in their eyes now I wasn't a father anymore. Just a burden. I remember whispering to myself that night. So this is how my story ends. Alone, discarded, forgotten. But I was wrong. My story was only beginning. Sometimes the nights are cruel. They force you to remember. I remembered the years when my wife Clara died. I was only 38 then. Suddenly, I had to become both father and mother, to 2 children still too young to tie their own shoes. I worked 2 jobs. Day shifts at the construction site, night shifts as a security guard. I barely slept. I remember Mark falling sick with pneumonia when he was 7. I sat all night by his bed praying, holding his tiny hand, begging God to take me instead. I remember Anna's school recital. I worked a double shift that day and ran across town in mud-stained boots, just to see her play the violin for 3 minutes. Every coin I saved was for them. College, better clothes, a decent house. I sacrificed friendships, love, health. I thought love was enough. But love, it seems, is easily forgotten when money whispers louder. In the nursing home, I met Sarah, a young nurse with tired eyes but a kind smile. Unlike my children, she treated me like a human being. She'd bring me water before I even asked. She'd sit by my bed for 5 minutes after her shift just to ask about my day. One evening she asked, "Do your children visit often?" I laughed bitterly. Not once. That silence between us said everything. She placed her hand on mine gently. "I'm sorry. Some people forget who carried them when they couldn't walk." Her kindness was a small flame in the cold. Little did I know that flame would one day inherit an empire. Here's the thing my children never knew. I wasn't poor. Not at all. Decades of silent investments, real estate, stocks, small businesses, had turned me into a multimillionaire. I had lived modestly, never flashing wealth, never boasting. My children grew up thinking we were barely scraping by. That was my choice. I didn't want spoiled brats, but greed is a strange beast. When they locked me away in that nursing home, they assumed that when I died, they'd inherit whatever scraps I had. They had no idea they were leaving me alive, with the pen still in my hand. They thought they buried me in this place, I whispered to myself one night. But they had no idea I was the one holding the shovel. I began writing in secret. Notes, diaries, letters. Sarah helped me, though she didn't know why. Every detail of my will, every bank account, every property. I met my lawyer quietly in the small garden behind the nursing home. The staff thought he was just an old friend visiting. There, under the weak sun and the smell of roses, I rewrote my will. My children would receive nothing. Every dollar, every building, every piece of land would go to Sarah, the only person who had shown me love when I was forgotten. Meanwhile, Mark and Anna grew comfortable in their greed. They never visited. They told neighbors I was better. off being cared for by professionals. I watched from afar, waiting, calculating. The day finally came. I was lying on my deathbed, my breathing shallow, heart weak. The room filled with the sound of machines and Sarah's quiet footsteps. For the first time in years, Mark and Anna appeared. Their eyes scanned the room not with sorrow, but with expectation. They weren't here for me, they were here for the will. When the lawyer entered, their faces lit up like vultures circling a carcass. The lawyer opened the folder, adjusted his glasses, and began to read. I, Edward Collins, being of sound mind, hereby declare my final testament. Mark and Anna leaned forward. To my children who abandoned me in my final years, I leave nothing. The silence in the room was thunderous. Anna gasped. Mark shouted, "What? This must be a mistake." But the lawyer continued. All of my wealth, assets, and properties shall be transferred to Sarah Miller, my nurse and true companion in my last days. Sarah froze, tears in her eyes. Mr. Collins, no. Mark slammed the table. Anna screamed. And I smiled. For the first time in years, I smiled. As my eyes drifted shut for the last time, I thought of the irony. They abandoned me for money. And so in the end, money abandoned them. They gave me nothing when I needed them most. And so I gave them exactly that, nothing. Revenge doesn't always roar. Sometimes it signs a paper in silence. What do you think? Was I too harsh? Or did my children deserve every ounce of this revenge? Let me know in the comments. Was this justice? Or was it too far? And don't forget to subscribe for daily stories that hit hard and turn on the bell. You don't want to miss what happens next.